Dancing was definitely not encouraged, nor was smoking or drinking, having premarital sex. These were all things that I was very fond of. Hey, I'm Kevin Bacon, and I have filmed in a lot of places. Let's see if I can remember them. All right, here we go. I think this is Utah. Must be Utah, right? This is probably the movie Footloose. Provo or Orem or Payson or Lehigh. These were all the surrounding areas of Salt Lake City that we shot. We shot Footloose, and probably this is where the tractor race was or something like that. Yeah. The experience as a young man of being part of a troupe and rolling into a town that was so far. I mean, when I landed here, I had never seen these mountains. I'd never seen mountains even anything like this. It was completely mind-blowing. I'll never forget. I mean, just literally, like, I'm looking out the window and just like going, holy shit. But the fact that you get a chance to be on the road and learning how to survive, and nobody knows each other, and you sort of have to make friends with each other, with the crew, with the cast. You're all thrown into what was really very much like a foreign kind of land in a way.
I thought this was a party! Let's dance!
I was a city kid who was thrown into a super rural world, and also a very, very strict, people who were raised with a very strict religious upbringing. Dancing was definitely not encouraged in that community, nor was smoking or drinking or having premarital sex. These were all things that I was very fond of. Dancing, smoking, drinking, premarital sex. I'm not necessarily in that order. So and I think that most of the crew and most of the cast was, kind of in line with me. There was some stuff that was kind of scandalous, I think John Lithgow went skinny dipping in the pool at the hotel. That sort of got around.
I just feel closer to my Lord out there.
Do you remember any of the moves?
The move?
Photos?
No.
You don't remember any of the dance moves?
No.
Do people ask you that all the time?
Yes. Okay, let's see what we got next. I think this is Lone Pine, California. When we were making Tremors, if I remember correctly. Am I right? We're like jumping from rock to rock. Yeah, jumping. Pole vaulting. Pole vaulting from rock to rock because the graboids can get through dirt, but they can't get up on the rocks or something like that. They were, a lot of Westerns were shot up there in the 50s, but also they were hotspots for people to go and do psychedelics, peyote and mushrooms and stuff like that. And, when you're up there is a kind of like psychedelic vibe to them, and there's kind of carve outs. It's funny, one of the few things that I know how to do is ride a horse, and I've never been in a Western. I think maybe Tremors is the closest I've ever gotten to being in a Western. And I did get a chance to ride a horse a little bit. I remember one time they wrapped me because of what we call turnaround. You have to have 12 hours off between the time when you start shooting and the time when you wrap at night. And they decided to use a stunt double for this very, very wide shot of Val and Earl galloping across the desert. And I was so pissed that they didn't let me do that. I was like, and honestly, I wasn't that crazy about the way he was riding. Reba, I feel like maybe Tremors was her first acting gig. And of course she was fantastic and hilarious.
You didn't get penetration even with the elephant gun.
Shit!
It was also because of Reba's involvement and because of the fact that we were shooting in Lone Pine, which is, even though it's probably about 3 hours or 3.5 hours north of LA, the only options for radio, there weren't a lot of radio stations. The only radio stations I could get were country stations. And, I'm a kid from Philly, and up until that point, I didn't really listen to or have much of an appreciation for country music at all. And between Reba's involvement and the fact that, aside from my cassette player, the only thing I could listen to was country, made me really start to appreciate it as a musical genre. So let's see what's next here. Oh, I know exactly. I have no idea where this is. Is it the Hellgate Bridge? No, that's not the Hellgate. It doesn't really look like New York, and it's not Philly. Boston. This is Boston. This is the Tobin Bridge.
Hey, Divine. What you looking at?
The old neighborhood.
We were making a movie, Mystic River. I believe I'm in this scene. Yeah, on this bridge. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie, and it was unheard of because this is one of the main arteries in and out of Boston, and Eastwood closed it, and it was like this crazy traffic jam. People's heads are just exploding, but because it was Clint, it's like, yeah, we're just gonna close the bridge and it'll be fine. But I think because of Clint, Eastwood, who directed the film, he was so beloved and admired and, kind of respected that for whatever reason, he got Boston to open up their arms to Mystic River. And it was one of the most fun shoots that I've ever had. The one thing you can be sure of is that if you're doing a Boston accent, nobody from Boston is going to like it. They're just very, very protective of that accent. I remember pulling into town. I think it was to start City on a Hill, which was another Boston-based character that I did. I roll up to the hotel, and I got my dog, and I'm about to walk the dog in the common. And there's a guy sitting in a car there. He's got his window rolled down, and he looks at me and says, "Hey, how come you get to play all the Boston cops?" And I said, "What?" He said, "How come you get to play the cops?" And I realized that he was probably, I don't know, an out-of-work actor or something. This might be, is this Camp Crystal Lake from Friday the 13th? Wow, I'm pretty good at this, actually. This is where we shot Friday the 13th, which was the first Friday the 13th in about, I don't know, 1977, 9 or something like that. I know exactly where it was. It's in Blairstown, New Jersey. Yep, I remember that. This lake was so fucking cold. And the thing is that for some reason, I feel like we started kind of like at the end of the summer. Maybe it started right after Labor Day or something like that. But as the movie goes on, you can see the leaves start to change. I remember somebody, because I was learning about filmmaking, I remember someone talking about that, saying, the leaves are changing. This is going to be a problem. And we had scenes in the water, like swimming, like we had a swimming scene, but that was like at the end of the schedule. So I remember just thinking to myself, how are we going to jump in the water on this October day? But I guess we didn't. Let's see what we got here. This is the Bondsman. This is Sonoy, Georgia. This is a great place to shoot.
Male enforcement, come out with your hands up.
The challenge is to not be on location. The challenge is to, try to absorb the character and the tone of a place if you're not in that place. But if you can get to a place that's close to the place that you're trying to shoot, it becomes like an actor's playground in a lot of ways. Even just tonally, drivers that drive us to and from work, they tend to be of that place. Whether it's dialect or point of view or whatever, they're the people that live there and work there. They're not the DP who's coming in or the cast that's coming in or even the production designer that's coming in. A lot of that crew is outside, but the drivers are definitely local. And just having that sort of like exchange with them to kick your day off in the morning or on the way home at night is valuable.
Do you ever pick up things from your drivers?
Totally. 100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I can't think of anything specific. I don't want to get sued. No, 100%. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have many, many, many times, whether that's in Boston or in Georgia or in Lone Pine or wherever.
Well, I'm a victim of circumstance.
How do I think I did? I think I did pretty well, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know it was a contest. But there's one more.
We're going to skip it.
We're going to skip it? Okay. Yeah, it was a bad one anyway. Oh, yeah, that's...
Okay.
You want to know what it is, right? Space.